So what do I mean when training sessions must be purpose-driven? Clear example right here. There's days where I go into the gym, say on my Tuesday upper body strength and core day. When I go into that gym, when I go into that training session, I know very clearly what my intent and purpose is. It might be the main compound multi-joint movement is barbell bench press. And I'm going to do some warm-up sets prior to, but a big effort, a big part of that workout is focused on that bench press for the reps and the sets that I prescribe for that workout. And then I have accessory movements that support that exercise throughout the rest of my training. But like the clear intent and purpose of that workout is, okay, upper body strength with a focus on barbell bench press today for this structure of, like I said, reps and sets. If I go into an easy run, say on a Thursday morning, which for me is tomorrow morning, I'll do an easy 10 miles. The very clear intent and purpose is maintaining my heart rate below my max aerobic heart rate. So in an aerobic zone. So I'm going to monitor my effort subjectively. I'm going to measure and monitor my effort objectively through my heart rate data on my watch. And then I'm also looking at my pace to just judge all things heart rate, effort, pace. But the goal for that run tomorrow morning is going to be aerobic. It is what I like to consider a recovery run. And it's one that I could have a full conversation with someone else during the entire run. Like that is the intent. That is the purpose. And that whole session will be driven through that purpose. This morning, for example, I had 12.5 miles of tempo work. It was a 1 mile warm up. And then it was 3 miles at marathon pace, 800 meter jog, 3 miles marathon pace, 800 meter jog, 1 mile marathon pace, 400 meter jog, 1 mile marathon pace, 400 meter jog, 1 mile marathon pace, and 1 mile cool down. And that's the workout that Jeff Cunningham, my running coach, gave me. He's been providing me some of my run workouts, track workouts, and tempo workouts leading up to this high rocks, then half marathon, and then preparing to go into marathon prep. Last week, I actually trained with him and his team, Bat City in Austin, Texas, at Yellow Jacket Stadium in Austin, which is pretty notoriously just famous. It has a really gritty look and feel. And that workout started at 6 a.m. Wednesday morning. That team works out every week on Wednesdays, and they rotate between tempo and track. And last week's track workout was 12 times 1K repeats with 60 seconds rest in between. And we started at like a 3:31 1K average, worked down, I think, to like 3:17 1K average, and then towards the end met somewhere in the middle. But that was an epic workout. 12 1Ks with 60 seconds rest in between. It's a lot of volume. It was like 8 miles of work at fast paces. But there was a very clear intent and purpose behind that training session. That's what I'm trying to drive home there. Like each one of these training sessions has a very clear purpose. The same thing goes with these high rocks circuits. There has to be a very clear intent and purpose. It's not just throwing a bunch of exercises into an AMRAP and then moving through and doing the work. That will build fitness. Yes, that is one way to do it. And I'm not saying if you're doing that, it's wrong, but I truly believe there's a more effective and productive way. So when I go into these circuits now, the way that I program and structure them is I first ask myself the question, what do I want to get out of this? And then it's what movements do I incorporate that support that goal? How long do I want this workout to be? At what effort? What intensity? The intensity will tell me how long I'm going to work on each movement. And then what do rest periods look like? and all the ins and outs between. And that's how I start building these workouts. I can give a few examples. Last week, following the 12 by 1K workout, I did a High Rocks circuit that afternoon with Dan Churchill and Luke Hopkins. And that is the lower body strength day as well, but we wanted to switch things up a little bit. So that goal for the day was pretty much put a lot of volume and intensity into the lower body. And I was 100% feeling it towards the end of that day and the next day. So we did the 12 by 1Ks in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we started with some lower body strength. So we did leg extensions, leg curls, just getting some blood moving into the muscles. And then we went into a 5x5 on barbell squat. So I worked to 315, 315 pounds, 5x5 on barbell squat. There's probably 2 minutes of rest in between each one of those sets. Wanted to put down a big effort and make sure I could get all 5 reps for all 5 sets. Then after that, we went into a circuit. So that circuit consisted of ski. It was, I want to say, 500 meter ski. It was a 2K bike erg with a damper set at 10. It was a 40 meter sled push, 25 wall balls, and 40 meter barbell lunge with 135 pounds on the bar. And for the sled push, we had 470 pounds on the sled. And we moved that through that 4 times, I believe. And towards the end of that workout, our legs were trashed. But it was just a slow grinder of a session of just putting a lot of stimulus on the lower body in that day. And that was the goal. With some of these other workouts, if I don't want to overtax my legs in some of these circuits, I won't add in running. So it might just be a move through of 1K row, 1K ski, and then maybe 35 calories on the Echo bike, and just moving through those movements for 45 to 60 minutes. And I'm just trying to get more aerobic conditioning building. I want to build that engine. Some of these workouts, I want to tax my legs and my lower body. Some I just want to get some aerobic conditioning. Some I want to work on strength and skill. And that might be where I'm stacking barbell lunges with sled push and wall balls, for example. But each training session, each circuit that I build out has an intent and purpose. You know, another great way to kind of practice compromised running is an AMRAP where you have 1K on the assault runner or a treadmill, or you're just running outside. And then from there, you go into some burpee broad jumps. And from there, you go into some wall balls. And then maybe you go into a ski and you go back into a 1K run. So with each additional round, when you get back on the assault runner, or you go for your run or on the treadmill, your legs are more and more and more compromised. But that is a training session where the intent and purpose is to get better at compromised running. So that's the key takeaway is each training session needs to have an intent and purpose. It's not just throwing a dart at a dartboard, selecting some exercises, throwing a time on there and some distance or duration. Know what you're trying to improve at in that workout. Know what you're trying to get out of each session, and that will help you structure and formulate the workouts themselves.